everybody, Mike here with CAVU Farm. Welcome back. We have a bit of an interesting day today. We have to winterize the bees. So what we got to do is open up these beehives. I think we have 9 of them. We got to open them up, and we will winterize them by putting in some dry sugar, some white sugar. We also have to put in our quilt box, because the quilt box is what helps soaks up all the moisture that can accumulate throughout the winter. So stick with us, and you get to see how we winterize our bees, so that way they have a better chance of living and surviving through the winter time. All right, so we have some wax paper. This is going to go on top of where all the frames are. We need a few more things. We're going to need our quilt boxes. These are the quilt boxes I made. You probably, hopefully, can watch them in a previous video. I'm going to grab 9 of these, so that way we can stick these in the buggy. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cool. So these 9, and we also need some shims because we have to elevate the sugar off of the roof of the hive. So looks like we got some empty shims right here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab these. Put these in the buggy as well. 9. Everything we needed from the shed. We do have a few things in the barn. We need like a couple hive tools, our suits, the smoker. I'll get that smoker going, and then we can start getting into these beehives. Luckily it's sunny out, and it's relatively warm on the side of the barn with all the bees, so hopefully they'll be all out flying and they won't be too cranky, but we never know. So we're gonna put our bee suits on and get the smoker going just in case. We use these shavings, and what these do is we'll put these on the top of the hive in our quilt box, and what it'll do throughout the winter is absorb moisture that's in the hive. So that's what's going to kill the bee, is moisture, and that's kind of the thing we have to sort of mitigate throughout the winter time here in the Northeast. Just fill the bottom of this smoker up with some paper egg cartons. Kind of helps things get going. And I put some shavings in. Use this little lighter to get it going.
Maybe just start with 1 or 2.
Somebody's been laying eggs here.
Oh goodness.
Let's pop the lid off. Nice. Got some bees in here. That's good. It was chilly last night, so they're probably down below. And then we'll pop on this shim. Do we need to tape that?
Yeah.
Alright, watch out, bees. Alright.
This feeding shim's about maybe 2 inches tall, and what that's going to do is give room for us to put down some paper. Some people use newspaper. This is a food grade like wax paper, and then we can pour the sugar on top. Some people use fondant, some people use candy boards. This is what we use here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, just dry sugar. Dry sugar is going to do two things. It's going to absorb extra moisture in the hive. So right now it looks like normal dry sugar. When we go to pull this off or check it later in the winter, it's going to be hardened into a cake as it absorbs that moisture. And number two is it's an emergency food supply for them. So when bees cluster for the winter, they tend to start down here in the bottom box, and then they move up throughout the winter. So if they get up here to this food, it means that they would not have made it through the winter if they had run out of food. So this is kind of their last resort, and this is something that we can check periodically as the weather allows and make sure that they have enough.
Bees are already starting to check out the new thing in their hive.
How much sugar do you think you put in? 2 pounds?
Yeah.
If you're using dry sugar to winterize your bees, you want to make sure it's cool enough when you do this. You want the average daytime temperatures to be under 50, which is the temperature at which they stop flying and they cluster inside the hive. If it's too warm, they're actually going to see all these little granules as things that don't belong in their hive, and then they're going to start carrying them out of the hive one by one. So you want it cool enough that they're not doing that.
All right, now we have the quilt box. This is one of the quilt boxes I made this summer. Put that right on top. And next, all we need to do is get some pine shavings.
What's the purpose of the pine shavings?
It's just to absorb any moisture in the hive. And you want to kind of fluff it up. You don't want it to be packed down. So that way any air can circulate around these shavings, and just provides more surface area for any humidity or moisture in the hive that comes up from these bees. Watch out. No, you can't be in there. No. No.
We also have these ventilation holes drilled on the side of the quilt box. You can see that in the video of Mike making them. And then just a wire mesh on top so the bees can't try to fly into this box. We do one extra thing with this spacer shim is we drill a hole right in the front of it. That's going to serve as an upper entrance to the bees, for the bees. So if for some reason this bottom entrance is covered in snow in the middle of winter and it's warm enough, they can still get out of the hive through this top entrance. There's no need for an inner cover with this setup, so our outer telescoping cover just goes right on top of the quilt box. And then some type of weight to hold the lid down in case it gets really windy.
All right, we got that one hive done. Now we're going to put you on time lapse, and then we'll knock out the rest of these hives real quick. it. That's winterizing the beehives. It literally takes just a couple minutes. Take the cover off, inner cover, put down a spacer, some food grade wax paper, sugar, quilt blanket right on top with some shavings. Lid goes on, put the rock back on top, and away you go. So those I think 8 or 9 hives that just it did not take long at all. It probably took longer to get everything set up and just put the few things away. So it's a really good insurance policy to help keep the bees alive through the winter. So that way, you know, they don't freeze. Once the bees make it through winter, it starts getting into springtime, they're going to start looking for resources. They're going to start flying and doing all their bee things, which is going to be pretty cool. Hopefully they'll all survive. They should. I think all our queens have been overwintered. They have the genetic disposition to be hardier, I guess. So really appreciate you sticking around, watching the channel, watching this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share with all your friends, family, loved ones. And like we always say, we'll see you on the next video.